Right, so let's start over. Good morning, my name is Khalil Khshar. I am the Assistive Technology Specialist here at the Office of Disability Services, and with me today is Katie Monti. She is our ADA Project Coordinator. And we'll be covering today session 8 of the Universal Design Fast Facts series, covering the topic how to use accessibility checker. So let's move on. So by the end of this presentation, you should be able to automatically find the accessibility checker on most modern software and be able to use it, find the errors, and fix them. So what is accessibility checker? Most modern desktop publishing applications and learning management software actually systems come with built-in accessibility checkers. For example, Microsoft in general, whether it is Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, they come with built-in accessibility checker. Canvas now comes with accessibility checker. If you are using Adobe InDesign, or maybe Word in Apple computers, or some of these software, you will find an accessibility checker somewhere built in, including even Adobe Acrobat. Of course, we are talking about a Pro, and we'll talk in more detail in a moment. So the accessibility checker helps identify the accessibility errors and helps you also fix them. It even adds to your knowledge. For example, if there's an error, it will tell you why it is wrong, why it is not accessible, who it will impact, and how to fix it. What regulations or standards does it violate, and so forth. So it is a great knowledge source as well. So the accessibility checker is automated and also needs a human interaction, because sometimes you get false, positive or negative errors. So you need to be careful when you check. So it is good to run it and start fixing. And sometimes you come to something that is questionable, you can refer to us and we can help, or you can read more about it and just, it is a wrong error. There's no error. It is accessible. It's just the system doesn't know. And of course, manual checking is important as well to see errors that cannot be identified by the system. You'll see some examples as we go on the slides. The accessibility checker tool give okay, in Microsoft Word or Microsoft in general, when you run the accessibility checker, you can have one of these 4 results. You could have an error, a clear error, and it will say error, and it means that there's a conflict with some of the standards like section 508 or WCAG. And it means also that that mistake or that error, it means it is not accessible by someone with disability, maybe a blind, maybe a hard of hearing, one of those kind of disability. And it needs to be fixed so it can meet the standards, which is section 508 and WCAG. Sometimes you get a warning. Warning are areas that the system cannot decide on. For example, the reading order, where this is a human decision. So it will give you an error or warning just to double check that there is no mistake. Sometimes the color contrast, background and foreground colors. It will also give you some tips to help you improve the accessibility and usability of your document. Normally, this is seen in picking the correct naming or even the correct color. For example, URL links, okay, like the path. It is always better, for example, to use a phrase and make it a link, a hyperlink. There's also another result. It's called intelligent services. You know, for example, if you place a picture from the internet, it will automatically provide, sometimes automatically provide an alternative text. Because it is automated, you need to go and read this alternative text because it could be wrong. I mean, it could refer to something different. Most of the cases, I find that it will say electronic device, even for example, buildings, just because of the shape. Yeah, so you need to read these errors or the intelligent services that provided alternative text, or whatever that was automated to make sure that it is accurate. So this is a quick screenshot of how it works. So if you are in Microsoft Word, and believe me, the same for other Microsoft products, you will go to Info, okay, it is sometimes a tab, and then you go click on check for issues, then you click on check accessibility, and that will give you a list of errors or warnings. If you click on one of these errors, it will immediately refresh the page where the picture, for example, picture 1, and it will show you that. And we'll give you a quick demo after the presentation. This is another example. You can see almost the same screenshots. This is Microsoft PowerPoint. So you go to Info, check for issues, check accessibility, and you'll get all of these results. Now in Adobe Acrobat, you know Acrobat has two versions. There's Reader, Acrobat Reader, and Acrobat Pro. Acrobat Reader has only one feature, which is text-to-speech, okay? And it doesn't do accessibility checking, or it doesn't tell anything. I mean, if your document is accessible, it will be accessible for others, but you cannot fix any accessibility issues. You cannot even run the accessibility checker. But if you have the Pro, then you can run the accessibility checker, and you can have one of these results. Passed, it means it was checked and it meets the regulations. It meets the standards of Section 508 and WCAG, specifically version 2. So, and this is good. For example, in Microsoft, if there is no errors, it doesn't tell you pass. It just you don't see any error. But here you can even click on passed and have more information. What exactly passed, and what was successful, and you can read more about it and learn more about it. If it is a fail, it means there's a conflict with Section 508 and WCAG2. And by the way, Section 508 was updated, and it now refers to WCAG2. The only difference as well, this is government regulation, and that is more of a private WWE, WWW, 3 Ws, worldwide standard. Also, you can have the result of skip by user. So we'll give you a screenshot in a moment. When you start this accessibility checker, it will give you a long list of check boxes. This is what it is going to check. So if you uncheck one of these, then it will not check it. It will not go through it. It will not evaluate it. And this is where you get this kind of result skipped by a user. Also needs manual checking. For example, the reading order always needs manual checking. So you will get sometimes just a notification that this is something that cannot be automated. Okay, and the software cannot decide on it. You will have to check it yourself. This is a screenshot of how to do it. So first you will have to add the icon, accessibility icon, to your right side panel. Okay, and you do that by going to the tools, then you click add. It says open here because it is already added in this screenshot. Then when you click accessibility, it will give you a list of commands, one of which is full check. When you click on it, it will give you the default criteria and factors that is going to be checked. Of course, if you uncheck one of those, this is when you get skipped by user. So our recommendation to keep, which is screenshot number 3, keep the default as it is, and you click start checking, and this is where you get a list of errors. And what I like about Adobe Acrobat, that when you click on one of these errors, it will help you fix right over there, or skip the error for any reason. You can click explain, and this will open a browser and will give you more information about this error, who it will impact, regulations, how to fix it, and so forth. So this is about Adobe Acrobat Pro. Now in Canvas, the good news, CTL has adopted UDoIt. UDoIt is a tool that was developed by University of Central Florida. and it will check on your courses, complete course, and it will give you a long list of report. It is great to use it. I highly recommend that. How to run it? In your left side, there is a long list of link menu. For example, syllabus, pages, my media, one of which down all the way, accessibility checker. So if you click the accessibility checker, you will get this menu. It is again the criteria that it will go through it, what it will check pages and scan for what. Then you will get like this page of errors, okay? Errors and suggestions. And if you click on any of those, it will tell you where is exactly the error and you can fix it right from there. Now, this is a quick demo. It is not like our 6 hours workshop. We provide, Katie and I, 6-hour workshops. There's one coming soon where we give our attendee, they work actually on a computer and we work together in fixing Microsoft Word file and also an Adobe Acrobat file. That concludes, but before conclusion, since we have some time, I'll just give you a quick demo of some of these items that we talked about. So let's start with Microsoft Word right here, or before Microsoft Word actually. These are our upcoming workshops. I highly recommend that you attend as many of them. This one, 6 hours, is face-to-face. It's going to be in campus on March 31st. This is where you will use a computer and we work together in fixing errors. We'll cover many of the topics that we normally have in the small sessions. Then we have our last session this semester, which is session 9 for the Universal Design Fast Fact series, where we cover document structure using ready-made format. Then we'll be creating or making those other workshops, but you can mark your calendar on these dates. Now let's give you a quick example. This document, this is one of the documents that we cover. I'm going to click File, check for issues, check accessibility. And you see you get a list of errors. If I'm not sure what is picture 2, for example, if I click on it, it will jump immediately to picture 2 and it will tell me why fix, steps to fix. And that is very useful to know. I'm not going to go in detail because it is not our topic today. So let's see another example in Acrobat. Of course, you have to add the accessibility icon. So to do that, you go to Tools and you scroll down and you click Add. Okay, it is now open. So let's just click Open. So once you open, you'll have a long list of commands related to accessibility, one of which is accessibility check. And these are the defaults. You keep them, start checking, and it will give you all the errors. And right from there, you can fix or leave, depends. So today we have a contribution from Kevin. This is a file. It is actually a PowerPoint. Thank you so much for this contribution. Now, when we look at that, we will see in all the slides a clear text. You see, you can select the text, and that is good. Text that you cannot select is not accessible, is an image. So it should be a selectable text, just like what we see here. And if we look at the slides, there is no images, there is no tables, so there is no complication. I mean, it is just a straightforward file. And that's why I say that this file is accessible just from looking at it. Now let's run the accessibility checker and see if there's a different result. So I'm going to go to File, check for issues, check accessibility. All right, so we have here a duplicate slide title. For example, this is slide 6, right there. It's the title is asking questions. And it is the same title of slide 5, asking questions. So why is that confusing? Because there are students who are blind. And if they click on slide 5, they will go through the slide and they click slide 6, it will again say asking questions, but they just saw that. Okay, and again, they are blind, they will think that they may be messed up with the keyboard shortcuts. Maybe they didn't click the correct key. And probably they will skip it because it has the same title. So they will think that it is the same slide and they probably will skip it. That's why we recommend that you try to change the title. For example, you can say continue. Like that. It is very common name, and just make smaller just for the look. Okay, or you can say asking question slide 1, slide 2, slide 3 if there is more than one or more than two. That would give it a more accessibility approach. And you can see the error has gone because it now has a different title. So this is my recommendation. Now note that PowerPoint is probably, I consider it the easiest to be accessible. Why? Because it just simply has a title and bullet points. There is no structuring. There is no heading for level 1, heading level 2, heading level 3. It becomes complicated when you start adding elements. For example, when you have a hyperlink, how did you add the hyperlink? Or if you have a table, did you make that table accessible? Or if you add a picture, did you add an alternative text? So that's it for our workshop today. I'm going to stop the recording, then we'll accept the questions.
Khalil, before you stop the recording, I just wanted to mention one thing around the standards that you were referencing, Section 508 and WCAG 2.0. It's very timely based on the pandemic, as well as a change in our federal administration that we're addressing and looking at these things. We have been as a campus for a while, but I'll just share a broader sort of overview around this, is that the regulatory agencies, which include the Office for Civil Rights, the Department of Justice, who help implement and regulate administration of these federal standards, have been in a bit of a holding pattern for the last few years, and we're a little lower staff. However, because of that, it's easier on their budgeting to just go online and look at various websites and check for accessibility. And they in fact do this. And these are usually attorneys who work for the Office for Civil Rights. However, there's been a renewed interest in oversight and compliance with the new administration, as well as with the virtual setting, of course, that we've all been in. There's been a renewed focus on electronic accessibility, website accessibility. So I say all that just to say, I'm glad you're here. It's timely, it's important, and there's going to be a renewed focus on our websites. We receive federal funding, obviously, as an institution, and because of that, we're required to meet these standards, and it's something that they can check pretty much, pretty easily. They don't have to be on our campus to be checking for compliance in these things. So it's great that you're here, and we hope that you will continue to come to these sessions if that works for your schedule. Come to the 6-hour session in person if you can, and we will hopefully continue to promote this information campus-wide. Thanks, Khalil.
Thank you. So let's stop the recording for now.